So now we've identified where we're at, where we want to be, and then we see this huge gap in between. That's what I'm going to do as a coach. I'm going to show you that you're fully resourced and you have everything you need to jump that gap. The part that's missing is the awareness and more often than not, the confidence to take the first step.
Welcome to the My Future Business Show, where we get you in front of your best audience and keep you there. Not only are we interviewing the biggest names in business to help you become even more successful, we're inviting you to book your spot on the show to help you grow your business. So at the end of the call, make sure you fill in the interview application form at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. Hi and welcome back to the My Future Business Show. It's Rick Nusky here. It's a wonderful day where I am locally. I'm on the line with Reid. How are you, Eric?
I am well, and how are you today?
Excellent, thank you very much. I often say I have 2 feet and a heartbeat. I cannot complain.
I like that. I'm stealing it.
Oh, no, absolutely not. Hang on, did I copyright that somewhere? No, I don't think I did. Well, how have you been?
I have been good. It's
you're looking well.
we're here in Georgia and we're finally breaking out of winter and into our rainy season. So happy me.
How about we swap, because we have a 40-degree day Celsius in front of us.
Oh, that's not bad. Where you be?
Adelaide, South Australia, in Australia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
been there, done that.
Been there, done that. Fantastic. So Eric, I'd love to talk a little bit about you, what you do before we jump into the core of the call, which is your business. What do you like to do when you're not working?
Sleep.
Great. That is probably one of the best.
I have a 9 and an 8-year-old. So if I'm not working, they keep me running. And if I'm not running, then I'm, I love anything that's spontaneous. At first, I'll say, what do we got planned today? And everybody's starting to learn never to say nothing, because I'll fill the day with something. And so we're always on the move, doing something, learning something, adventuring somewhere.
Yeah, so I have a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old, so I can understand this whole need for extra sleep, if you will. So look, we're going to talk a lot about success and what does it mean for entrepreneurs. The My Future Business Show audience is all about this, all about building better businesses that are sustainable. But oftentimes there's lots of ingredients that are missing, and that's why I have wonderful guests like you come onto the show to share your message. I guess if we could go back to the fundamentals of what success looks like for you and how do we attain it?
Okay. Well, initially success when I worked in corporate America before my entrepreneur journey was that corner office, the big check, the promotion, as many letters before and after my name as they could stuff on the nameplate.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one day my son turned to me and he there was something going on and he said, "Oh, never mind. You won't be there. You probably are going to be at work."
No.
And I sort of sank and I started to try and explain, well, honey, you have to understand everything that we have is because I go to, we've all made that same speech.
I know the story.
Didn't work. He just like, no, it's okay. And sort of at this time, 6-year-old passive aggressive way. He had mastered it so well.
He's cornered you.
And I thought, well, I'll let that pass. It's just, he's 6. It's just a moment. But when I started to that tripped something inside of me that I started to look around. I'm like, I am so disengaged from everything except work. Work gets every ounce of me. Work gets every moment of my best energy. And it was then that I began to really ask myself, what is success going to look like for me? Not as what does success look like on the cover of a magazine or as promoted by social media, but what is it going to start to look like for me? And so my definition of success began to change, and it was really to understand that I need to be fully engaged in the moment that I'm at. And so if I'm at work, I'm 100% at work. I mean, I love work. I dive in work. I just churn and burn all day long.
Yep.
But when I turn it off and I'm sitting with my son or my daughter and we're doing Legos or coloring or whatever it is, I have to focus that same intentionality, that same energy into that moment. Now, granted, because of my nature, it sometimes takes a little more effort for me to slow down and get into that space with the kids.
Yeah.
But once I'm in it, I'm filled with, joy, so to speak. It's that like, wow, this is really great. And so success now looks different in the sense that I don't need to have the award and the letters and all of the external recognition.
Yes.
I need to recognize internally that where I'm at is where I should be for the moment,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm doing it as fully as I can in the moment.
Yeah, that's great feedback. You've it's. I don't know that there's such a thing as work-life balance, but it's certainly a matter of checking yourself and being more present in the exact moment that you're living in, because we don't have the future, we don't have the past. You just have what is right now, don't you?
Yeah, and we get caught up in this balance thing, like we live life on a teeter-totter. And what it really is when I say I live in balance, it's like I live in harmony with who I'm supposed to be in the moment. I couldn't balance an entire week if I tried. I could barely balance a day, but I can balance a moment by being who I'm supposed to be in that moment and then move to the next and to the next. So we've got to break this idea that we've got to have balance. It's like, come on, like really, like we're one person. How does one person establish balance on a teeter-totter? We don't, but we can if we have a network of people around us and a team of support that says, hey, I got this, you go do that. Oh, wait a minute, you need to be here so I can go there. Okay, now we're beginning to engage with the people around us. And that's really the only way we can establish balance in our work and in our life.
It seems like a good segue into, what I know as teamwork. It seems to be a little bit of that in there, doesn't there?
I have a quote on my wall that's everything, and I'm looking up at is everything, the greatness in leadership doesn't begin at the top, it begins at home.
Yep.
I have had to look at that like every day almost on my wall.
Again.
Because I so often think, oh, I'm a great leader, I'm the speaker, I'm this influencer of the world. And then I get home and I kind of get by my kids and by my spouse and by life. And I've realized, like, if I can't do this thing here at home right, then everything outside of it is false. And so learning how to be a team player, learning how to be a leader, sometimes learning how to give up the role of leadership, raising my son and my daughter to become leaders within their own self and in their own communities creates a team. And we use the expression around here, we'll say, okay, team, let's go.
Yep.
Because I'm programming them. And yes, I'm programming them because that's what parents do.
That's your job.
For those of you who aren't parents yet, that's what we do.
Believe it or not. There are rules.
Yeah, we love and cuddle, but you're really programming, just to get it clear. And I'm programming them that when they hear, okay, team, that means, okay, all hands on deck. We all have a role and a responsibility and an ability in this team.
Yep.
To get us to the car, to get the groceries out of the car, to do what needs to be done. Because ultimately, as a parent, I want my children to be able to count on each other as team members.
Yeah.
And so I have to model that behavior now. I have to program them to understand that as a family unit, we're a team and this team comes first. And the success of the individuals relies on the team.
Yeah.
And if I can do that, then it's really easy for me to do it in corporate America.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wonder how much of this actually transitions, these same teachings to those who you are working with now. I just wonder, how long ago was it that you left corporate America to do your own thing?
Fled corporate America, let's be clear.
I ran away.
Run away. I had, for those, I was in the IT industry. I was traveling around the world, setting up logistics and network designs, working like a crazy man. And so I left about in 2004.
Right.
And then the kids came about 3 years later. And so, and they were through a process of adoption. So 2 children arrived on our front door in the same day, in the same hour, that are 15 months apart. And so it was immediately then that we said, okay, we got to figure this out. And we've got like 10 minutes before they need to get fed. Teamwork is going to be our motto for a while. Okay. We're just going to break, don't even worry about loving on the kids. Let's just get them alive, keep them alive
just
for
keep
48
them alive
hours.
And breathing. So 2004, this all started to happen for you. The catalyst of children came along. It changed your mindset and I guess your value structures in some regard. How was it that you went from those moments into what you do now in your business?
Yeah, it's funny because I didn't see it happening, which is most often the case for most of us as entrepreneurs, that we excel in an area, we grow in this particular space, or we find a passion that we're involved in at a really high level. And then people around us start to go, you're really good at that. Or, man, you know a lot about that. Or, could you show me what you're doing? Because I got the problem that you're talking about, but I don't have the solution that you seem to have.
Ah,
And that's sort of the way I began this journey of entrepreneurship, because I had semi-retired from corporate America. I was like, I'll figure out my next gig and I'm just going to ride this wave for a little bit. And then people are coming like, could you show me? I don't get it. Like, how is this possible? And so slowly I unpacked my toolkit as a trainer and as a coach. And I began to like really look at myself more, because I wasn't seeing what they were seeing.
yeah.
And they were asking me like, show me, teach me, guide me, whatever. I was like, okay, I better start studying myself so that I can move forward with other people. And so a lot of that coaching and training thing just sort of organically happened. And as I saw the impact I was making in people's businesses and in their lives, then it was like, okay, I need to get like really good at this. I need to master it. I need to get certified. I need to be in training. I need to be like mastering my skill.
Yeah, it's one of those things where we have this curse of knowledge, isn't it? It becomes normal for us to be good at something, but not recognize how good we are at it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, people would say, I'm like, really? And I just sort of look at them like, are you talking about me? Because I don't, like, you, dude, you know so much. Like, where'd you learn this? And I'm like, really? I thought everybody knew that. And I think that's part of it as an entrepreneur, that because we're often working in our passion, we're working in something that sparks us. Like, we'll get up an hour early just to be involved in it.
Yeah.
We think it comes as natural to us as it does to other people,
Yep.
that their learning curve is at the same rate as ours, because why wouldn't it be? When in reality, that's what makes you stand out in the crowd. That's what makes you exceptional as an entrepreneur, a dream builder, is because your passion is pushing you at a higher fuel rate than everybody else. And they're trying to just keep up with your downdraft.
Yeah, just keeping up. That's the thing, isn't it? I wonder, with the people that you work with. Sorry, do they understand what success looks like? What sort of a process of, I guess, revealing what success is and what it looks like for them? Is it different for everyone?
It has to be. It has to be. Otherwise, they become caught in the trap of trying to live my story
Yeah.
or somebody else's story. And that's okay for a little while, because they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this and that. But slowly they burn out. Slowly they start to feel empty inside. They don't wake up with passion and purpose. So when I meet with clients and I'll talk about, okay, so what is it that's missing?
Yeah.
And oh, I don't know. As a coach, we typically get used to hearing, I don't know, at least 10 times before the real answer shows up.
Yep.
But I'm like, okay, if everything could stop and you could restart, what would be the one thing that you would want to make sure you got to bring with you, on the plane trip to the deserted island? And like, oh, I really love this. Okay, so if you could do more of that, or be involved with these kind of people, or on that kind of project, or in this kind of shape,
Yep.
how would you feel? Great. So now we've identified where we're at, where we want to be, and then we see this big, huge gap in between. That's what I'm going to do as a coach. I'm going to show you that you're fully resourced and you have everything you need to jump that gap.
Yep.
The part that's missing is the awareness, and more often than not, the confidence to take the first step.
Yeah, this comes back to beliefs. That's the first thing that jumped into my mind, isn't it?
Our belief systems are tattooed on us at birth, I think, because of our parents and our culture and our community, and sometimes our gender and our ethnic background.
Mm-hmm.
That, well, people like you, people with your age, people with your race, people from your place don't. And we keep these belief systems in part because to challenge them would be to challenge the people that are caring for our safety and security, that are like, I couldn't argue my belief system with my father and expect him to feed me that evening. So, you don't bite the hand that feeds you. You don't dispel the belief system that is feeding and clothing and caring for you when you're still young. But we never challenge those belief systems once we become independent, once we become self-secure, once we're able to to care for ourselves. We keep those belief systems.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why being involved with, communities and podcasts and radios and coaching is having that person that will stop and challenge your belief system, that will say to you, like, so why do you believe that? Like, no, I heard what you said, but why is that true?
Yes.
Because very few people will do that to you in an open and honest setting, because even for your spouse to say it to you, there's a risk that if they challenge your belief system, you have two options: to challenge back theirs, which nobody wants,
Mm-hmm.
or to leave them because you've suddenly awakened into a new belief system. So let's keep status quo.
Yeah. When you ask that question, why do you believe this? Is this a trigger for helping them to start the process of unlearning?
I think because unlearning is a piece, but I think before that is actually recognizing that they've said it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because somebody will say, oh, well, you just don't understand. I'm really bad at that. Or I never succeed at that. Or it never works out for me. And whenever I hear one of those, I just jump up in joy, because I'm like, oh, good. I get to bust some beliefs here.
Here's some juice.
Here's something to work with for the next 30 minutes. And I'll say, like, never? And they'll be like, no, never. I'm like, never? And they're like, well, except for this one time. Oh, except for this one time. So if there was an exception once, do you think there could be another exception? Well, I guess so. Oh, so never isn't true. We could change never to sometimes. Okay, I agree. We'll change never to sometimes. So if sometimes it doesn't work out, then that means sometimes it could work out.
Yep.
And so for me, a big piece of what the coaching process when I'm working with a client is really about, like, listening in for those statements and grabbing a hold of them before they can sink too far down, and sort of rescuing them back up to the surface and be like, wait a minute, we're not letting that one go down. We're going to dig it up and tear it apart and put it back together before we do that.
That's fantastic feedback. I just love this whole process of, helping people build better businesses, better lives, and reassess themselves. I always think to myself, Eric, we seem to replay, I guess, videos in our mind's eye of what reality actually is. The psychology behind success. Tell us a little bit about that and what people could, I guess, practically take away from this call that would start them on that journey.
So often we create a story based out of fear or based out of a need to feel safe. And I always give the example of, like, go to a dinner party and then take each of the individuals and interview them after the dinner party, and you would think they were at 4 or 5 separate dinner parties. It's like, okay,
yeah.
how did you all, like, weren't you all, like, they can't even remember what the person sitting next to them ate, yet we take that same mindset into our businesses, into creating success. Like, okay, this is my reality. I'm like, really? Where did you, like, how did you, like, what is that truth?
Yeah.
Well, and so one of the things when I work with entrepreneurs and when we begin to system out is that it's like, okay, I'm not going to rely on 1, your perception, and 2, your feelings, because I know both of them are screwed up.
Yeah.
For now,
Yeah.
I'm just going to work with a dirty windshield theory. So instead, we're going to do some very basic habit structures.
Yeah.
We're going to do some very simple action reward win systems so that you can start to see that it doesn't require your intellect, it doesn't require your history, and it doesn't require your feelings for you to begin to move in the direction that you want to do. It simply is following the set of instructions that you were given last week on the call, or next week, or whenever we're getting together, going, okay, if I simply do this, my coach, history, others' examples show that this will be my level of success, or this will be my progress path.
Yeah.
And as long as I can get them to commit to those simple things, pretty soon they're like, well, you know what? That did feel right. I did win. I did have success. I'm going to do more of this.
It must be very rewarding and satisfying for you being in that position to see people have an aha moment, that light bulb comes on, they go, you know what? There's an opportunity for me to improve. How does that make you feel? And
Yeah, it's a hard feeling
Yeah.
because it is so, I feel that in some ways the coaching or the mentorship space is almost a sacred space because people need to come into it fully
Yep.
and openly. And I need to honor and respect who they're coming in as and who they want to become. And so I feel like it's almost a sacred space. And in that, when transformation, when awareness, when lives are changed, I don't always feel as if I'm the vehicle for, like I'm the vehicle, but I'm not the reason. Like it came through me, not from me.
Yep.
And so it's both exciting and thrilling. And then it's wonderful because I get to see it sort of as an observer and a participant. And I think, oh my gosh, they may never have to have that moment when their son says, you like work more than playing with me.
Yeah.
Man, now we're transforming generations.
Yeah.
Let's keep going.
Well, it's funny because I know a lot of people abuse that very core thing through using it as a marketing tactic, whereas with true coaches and mentors, they really believe it, and I can see it time and again when I speak to individuals who do this sort of line of work. And it's just a wonderful thing we're doing. We're actually engaged with real human beings that have 2 feet and a heartbeat. They have needs, and we're serving those needs, aren't we?
Yeah, and I always tell people that come to me for coaching, I'll say, first, I got to figure out if we're a fit. Because you may have a checkbook, but that doesn't mean we belong together.
Not a good fit, yeah.
And then I will say, are we here for a season? Like, are you going through a change? Are you going through something that you and I need to be engaged in for a season? Are we going through for a skill set? Is there something that you need to learn and master as a skill set? Like you keep stumbling over the same rock and I need to teach you how to pick up your foot.
Yeah.
And sometimes we're just in it for a session. Like I am so cluttered and confused in my head. I need clarity. I'm like, okay, then let's approach it from that and see where it goes. I sometimes worry when people say, yeah, I signed up for 12 months of coaching. I'm like, really? Like, you know what you're going to need 12 months from now?
From now, yeah.
And you think this is the person that's going to be able to do it 12 months from now? Are you not expecting to evolve somewhere in month 3, 4, 6, or 8?
Yep, and grow.
And you don't even know if this person can keep up. And that's why with a lot of my clients, it's like, look, let's just be together for as long as it works.
Yep. Yeah.
And I'm going to hold you accountable. I'm going to push you. I'm going to make you stay in the game longer than you want because that's my job.
Yep.
But I'm never going to stay in the game with you just because my mortgage got paid by our call today.
Oh, yeah, that's wonderful. I love the sincerity, the authenticity. I'd just love to touch on, Eric, if we could, how people find you, and when they find you, what is the process that you take them through to onboard and go through this application?
So it's Eric G. Reid, so R-E-I-D, Eric G. Reid. If you Google it, you'll find me in 15 different places, from Facebook to LinkedIn to our webpage.
Yep.
So just tag through one of those, whatever works for you on social media. I do a Facebook Live every single morning at 8 a.m. Eastern, where I do like a mindset, morning success, thinking, thought thing. So you can always find that through Eric G. Reid. And then often it is a very simple call of, tell me where you're at. Let's talk about where you want to go. How do you think coaching is going to change that? How do you think coaching is going to accelerate that? What role do you think? And what are you willing to commit? And for how long? And by that, when I say I'm intuitive, I've been doing it long enough, and I sort of do think I have sort of an intuitive or natural ability to hear something, and I'll be like, you know what? I think we can do this. And in some cases, I'll say, the questions and the things that you're asking, though I'm aware of them or I have the skill set for them, I think you would be better served by this person.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a gender issue. Sometimes it might be an age issue. It might be just like, you know what? I feel like the dinner conversation would be higher if this person was brought to the table.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, my goal is to be of service to you. And so maybe being of service today is just making sure you have the right person. And that could or couldn't be me.
That's wonderful. Not everybody fits in the shoe, as it were. Eric, it's been an absolute treat sharing what you do with the My Future Business Show today.
I've enjoyed it. Thank you for having me and inviting me along.
Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed the call, then make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, share us with your friends, and book your spot on the show at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. And if you're looking for solutions that will help grow your business, then visit myfuturebusiness.com/shop.